to. So, of these 4 quarterbacks, the incoming transfers, the ones who are getting most of the attention, J.T. Daniels, West Virginia, Dillon Gabriel, who we just heard from and saw, Quin Ewers, Texas, and also Adrian Martinez, Kansas State. Of those 4, who will have the largest or biggest impact on their program? Chat room, fire away.
Yeah, let the chat room
text
fire
line.
away on that. I need to think about that a little
I'll
bit.
read the text line, 254-339-1122.
Was it J.T. Daniels, Dillon Gabriel, Quin Ewers, and who?
Adrian Martinez.
Adrian Martinez.
And I had a chance to we just heard from Dillon. I had a chance to visit with Adrian Martinez for just a little bit yesterday off to the side.
I think Oklahoma's had pretty stellar quarterback play for the most part. And with the Levy offense, I mean, I think, he's going to be really good in that, and they should be pretty good offensively. But I don't think that would be the biggest impact because I don't think they're going from as little as some of the others are going to where they could go potentially. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like he's got a shorter length to jump. I think J.T. Daniels at West Virginia, if they had better quarterback play last year, they might have been playing for a Big 12 title. He wasn't as bad as it probably sounds. Like I feel so bad every time I talk about Jared Dagey, and his time, especially last year, because I always feel like every time his name comes out of my mouth, it's something super negative, and I don't mean it to be that way. I really don't. But I mean, let's face it. I'm also not going to lie to spare feelings. He was a big part of their successes, but he's also a big part of their headaches. And I think with J.T. Daniels, if he turns out to be that guy that so many Mountaineers fans and other people across the country at various times over the last few years have thought that he could be, I mean, that would be a big, big boost for the Mountaineers. That would be huge for them. Quin Ewers at Texas, that could be huge too, but is it as big of a jump as what J.T. Daniels could do with West Virginia? It could be, but I still think that, like, if J.T. Daniels were to improve them by 3 wins, I think that's more impressive than Quin Ewers impressive in moving Texas 3 more wins, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. The chat room, this is where we got a segment here. Among those 4, Daniels at West Virginia, Martinez at Kansas State, Ewers at Texas, and also Dillon Gabriel at Oklahoma. Who of those 4, in your opinion, and give us a note or two why, will have the biggest impact on each team this coming season? These are among the 4 biggest names transferring in that are competing for a job and most likely start this season.
Yeah, and then K-State's definitely had their share of quarterback issues, not necessarily because of play, but just injuries and things like that have wreaked havoc. So I definitely think that Martinez could be a huge boost, but I'm also very leery because of some of the downside I've seen, which we've addressed and which everybody's addressed at this point. Super talented, but just those mistakes that are killer sometimes. So I'll go with J.T. Daniels and what he could potentially do for West Virginia. Martinez and K-State second. And then I think I'll go Ewers third and then Gabriel fourth. And that's not a slight. I just think Oklahoma's had such stellar quarterback play and such stellar offense for going on years now that it's not going to be so dramatic that it's like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe that's the Oklahoma offense that's out there. You got any thoughts, Garrett?
I think for me, I'm probably going to go with Martinez. I feel like when he goes into that system, he's like the ideal K-State quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you put him with a running back like Deuce Vaughn, and I think you're going to see a lot of option packages. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like you could see a lot of great option packages with that duo and behind that offensive line. If he can take care of the ball and not, have those dramatic turnovers, I think he's the one that can have the biggest impact. Daniels is good.
But then you're asking him to be someone
I know.
Because that's one of the things is that he could be as dynamic with a 75-yard run or a 40-yard dart, an unbelievable arm, but it was the turnovers, man, and at the worst times. And for his sake, because he's a really good young man, for his sake, I hope that they can put him in that position to be successful.
Well, I think this is also a clean slate, right? Like, you can put all of that behind you. You can just start fresh. You're in a new environment. And I think that's going to be the perception, right? Like, every game he goes into, that's going to be the main number one topic. If you can get past that, this is a way for him to kind of lay all that to rest and show that he can be the talented player that I think everybody knows he's super talented, but if he can clean it up, man.
It was nuts, though. His freshman year, he was getting Heisman Trophy-type odds, and it sent me over the edge because it never materialized to that point.
But think about what if it was as much where he was in the culture and that,
absolutely.
and then that Heisman Trophy talent goes under Chris Kleinman's tutelage and has Deuce Vaughn next to him and Malik Knowles and so on and so forth. And yeah, I mean, I think all four could be pretty nasty. Like I kind of hate ranking them because I think all four could be really dang good where they are. I mean, Ewers at Texas, I think could massively improve them. I just have such a question about their O-line and the number of new guys they have. But, I mean, the weaponry he has around him is going to be ridiculous with Bijan and Worthy and Billingsley. And, so, I mean, could go on and on and on.
Hell, Rashawn Johnson. I mean,
freak show.
If he stays healthy, Whittington. They have from Scotty B. I say Adrian Martinez from the 4-3-2. Joe G says no showing JT Daniels because saw what potential he could have had at USC. The 5-8-0. We want Joey. We'll have Joey McGuire. It is very long. He was great. Just after 5 o'clock today. And Joel, if Dillon Gabriel is healthy, he'll put up big numbers. However, as a quarterback, winning the big one is the measurement. He has not played for a conference championship game yet, so it'll be interesting to see if he elevates his game in the big ones and reduces the tendency for turnovers. But I think JT Daniels is going to improve West Virginia more than any other quarterback that you're talking about in this conversation. Thanks for the text line feedback as well. And the chat room has had many different comments about it as well, from JT Daniels to Dillon Gabriel to many others. And yes, for all of you in the chat room, and we appreciate you wanting the interview, we'll have Joey just after 5 o'clock, Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire. Martinez, Ewers, Martinez, Daniels. He thinks that Graham Harrell will get him going. JT Daniels, Dillon Gabriel. JT Daniels, Dillon Gabriel, JT Daniels. These are JT Daniels, a big sleeper in my book. So on and on. JT Daniels, Dillon Gabriel, and then there's a couple of Martinez and Ewers. So it's a pretty good topic. There's no overwhelming. JT Daniels, maybe, if you think about all the ones I've seen, with a slight edge.
I think that what that speaks to is just the excitement level that those fan bases have over their new guys, and that's just new quarterbacks that we're talking about, not even defensive players or skill players or linemen for those who have been in need of the big guys. So, yeah, I mean, to have a fresh group of quarterbacks, Casey Thompson was fine. Hudson Card's fine. But we know what the expectation is for Quin Ewers and how night and day that could make UT. But, yeah, JT Daniels obviously is getting a lot of buzz going in Morgantown right now. I think Sooner fans, all they have to do is listen to Dillon Gabriel. They're going to be so in love with the guy and ready to go to war with him. And I mean, it goes in Adrian Martinez. I think the K-State fans, I mean, they're right there. They were bound to see some of those Nebraska games. They know how talented he is, and yes, what the issues can be as well. But again, it's an if, but it's a big if. But if certain things happen, all four of those teams could be drastically improved just because of those quarterback changes, much less all the other changes. And that's what's fun about this time of year. That's what's getting me itching about talking about it's fun. But now we are starting to get to where we're close enough to where it's not March, and we're got to go through all these months and months. We got to go a few more weeks, and we're going to see JT Daniels against Dillon Gabriel, and we're going to see Dillon Gabriel against Quin Ewers in early October, and so on. And I can't wait because I think those guys bring a great influx of energy and excitement. I think the new coaches and the coaches that are still young in the league bringing